Mike, I feel sorry for you. and Jeff Rubenthal, really. I got to get it out for Rubenthal, our Sunday News staff photographer. You guys drove up to Happy Valley in rain to watch half a football game in rain and then drive back in rain.
Oh, my God.
For what?
On the way home.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about it.
On the way home, I was driving for like an hour and a half. The entire time, it was absolutely torrential rain, like almost on the border of, I can't see, I've got to pull over. For like an hour and a half nonstop. And finally, I lost it and freaked out in an expletive-filled tirade, which was very entertaining to Gordy Jones and Eric Thomas, the two guys who were in the car with me. But so it was that kind of a day. Not much could be culled from this. Would be an understatement, Starkey.
I'm going to get to the game, but let me ask you this. State College has a weather center. I mean, we call up there to get the weather from these guys. AccuWeather, located at State College. Couldn't they have moved this game up or back or canceled it based on monsoon conditions that they had in Happy Valley? Wasn't very happy that day.
Well, I mean, you know,
you would think
it's a tough call. People are up there for the day. The diehard people who were up there are there for the day.
Just sit in the rain.
Well,
how many fans,
that's
what have they had the last couple of years for fans? How many? 70,000.
They've had 2 years ago. They had almost 76,000, and that was the third year in a row that they had 70,000 or more. Last year, shaky weather. I think they had 50,000, something like that.
How many did they estimate? Yes,
they estimated 7,500 to 8,000, and that may be optimistic. I think.
And they counted 3 ducks in there too. The game itself, highlights. Were there any?
No.
Okay, we'll move on. Asking. Who stood out? Anybody?
Well, actually, Matt McGloin had pretty good numbers given the conditions. He was 5 for 10, threw for 100-some yards, threw for the game's only touchdown, had a 36-yard completion to little Devin Smith. So he did okay, and the other quarterbacks did nothing. And this is going to be the ongoing controversy, especially with Rob Bolden, who may or may not transfer. And if I had to bet my mortgage on one of those two, I would say he's gone.
Really?
Yes. I'm not sure, but if I had to bet one or the other, I would say he's gone.
Also read in your article in Sunday's paper, Newsome and another Paul Jones.
Paul Jones.
Who played great last year in the spring game, I think they did pretty well during this week, or at least they were boasted up to they did well. So does the loss of Bolden, if he does leave, does it hurt so much if Newsome and Paul Jones are playing better?
Well, honestly, right now they have 4 quarterbacks, and I don't know if there's been many times in the history of the program when they've had 4 ones better than this. Like the 3rd and 4th string guy. When have they ever had a better? I mean, you're looking at the Paul Cianciolos of the world. I think Kevin Newsome is a little bit ahead of that. I mean, he's played in games. He's seen action. So in that sense, they're okay. But obviously, one guy has got to emerge. And I thought it was interesting that Joe said that he doesn't know who it's going to be. He doesn't want to name a starter yet, but he's 99% sure that it's either going to be Bolden or McGloin. Boy, if I'm Paul Jones, I'm thrilled to read that in the paper on Sunday morning. So I don't know. Maybe those kids will think about transferring.
And Paul Jones looked really good before. I would go with Bolden. I saw what McGloin could do against a Florida team, and I wasn't real impressed.
I would go with Bolden too, but here's the problem. Joe understandably doesn't want to name a starter now. If Bolden isn't confident that he's going to be the starter, he is going to be disposed to transferring, I think. I think that's a really ticklish situation for Joe to deal with.
Anybody else jump out up there as far as their performance? They played the game until halftime, and then a little bit of the third, and it was over because the weather was so bad. So
I think one thing that maybe I'm just sort of reading the tea leaves on this and just sort of reading between the lines, but I feel like they're more ahead than maybe Joe expected them to be in terms of the offensive line. I think they have starters now. I think this Matt Stankiewicz kid has kind of emerged, and he's going to be in the interior. Johnny Troutman, a kid who's been up there for a few years and has been up and down. I get the sense that they know who their starters are going to be, or are pretty close to knowing that. And I think from the the mob scene that the offensive line has been in the last couple of years, I think they're a little farther ahead maybe than they expected to be in that. I didn't get that from the game. I sort of got that from who played in what positions and the things that Joe said about it.
There you have it.